Indian Constitution. Question 1. The idea of a written constitution in India was primarily influenced by which country? Option B. United States of America. Because India borrowed the concept of a written constitution, fundamental rights, judicial review, and an independent judiciary from the US Constitution. Question 2. The Constituent Assembly of India was constituted under. Option C. Cabinet Mission Plan 1946. Because the Constituent Assembly was formed in 1946 under the Cabinet Mission Plan. Question 3. Who was the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly? Option C. B.R. Ambedkar. Because Dr. B.R. Ambedkar chaired the 7-member drafting committee. Question 4. The Constitution of India was adopted on. Option B. 26th November 1949. Because the Constituent Assembly adopted and enacted the Constitution on 26th November 1949, but it came into force on 26th January 1950. Question 5. Why was 26th January chosen as the date for commencement of the Constitution? Option C. It commemorated the declaration of Purna Swaraj. Because 26th January had been celebrated as Independence Day since the Lahore Congress session of 1929. Question 6. Who was the constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly? Option A. B.N. Rao. Because B.N. Rao served as constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly. Question 7. The objective resolution was moved by. Option B. Jawaharlal Nehru. Because Nehru moved the objective resolution on 13th December 1946, it later became the philosophical basis of the preamble. Question 8. The preamble declares India to be. Option A. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Because socialist, secular, and integrity were added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment in 1976. Question 9. Which words were added to the preamble by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment? Option B. Socialist, secular, and integrity. The 42nd Amendment Act 1976 added these three expressions. Question 10. The preamble is. Option B. A part of the Constitution but not independently enforceable. Because in case Vananda Bharati versus State of Kerala 1973 case, the Supreme Court held that the preamble is part of the Constitution. Question 11. Fundamental rights are contained in. Option B. Part 3. Fundamental rights are provided under Articles 12 to 35. Question 12. Which of the following is not a fundamental right? Option C. Right to property. Right to property was removed from fundamental rights by the 44th Amendment and is now a constitutional right under Article 300A. Question 13. Article 14 guarantees. Option B. Equality before law and equal protection of laws. Article 14 incorporates both concepts. Question 14. Article 15 prohibits discrimination on grounds of option A. Religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth. These are the specifically mentioned grounds in Article 15. Question 15. Article 16 deals primarily with option B. Equality of opportunity in public employment. Article 16 guarantees equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. Question 16. Untouchability is abolished under option C. Article 17. Article 17 abolishes untouchability and makes its practice punishable by law. Question 17. Abolition of titles is provided under option C. Article 18. The state cannot confer titles except military or academic distinctions. Question 18. Which freedom is not currently included under Article 19? Option C. Freedom to acquire and hold property. The right to property was removed from Article 19 by the 44th Amendment. Question 19. Article 21 protects option A. Life and personal liberty. Article 21 has received an expansive interpretation through Supreme Court judgments. Question 20. The right to education is guaranteed under option B. Article 21A. Article 21A provides free and compulsory education for children aged 6 to 14 years. Question 21. Article 22 provides protection against option B. Arbitrary arrest and detention. Article 22 lays down safeguards for arrested and detained persons. Question 22. Which fundamental right is available only to citizens? Option C. Article 19. Article 19 freedoms are available only to citizens. Question 23. Which writ is issued to produce a person who has been unlawfully detained? Option C. Habeas corpus. Habeas corpus literally means you may have the body. It protects personal liberty. Question 24. Which writ commands a public authority to perform a public duty? Option A. Mandamus. Mandamus means we command. Question 25. The writ of quo warranto is issued to option C. Question the legal authority of a person occupying public office. Quo warranto asks by what authority a person holds a public office. Question 26. Directive principles of state policy are contained in option B. Part 4. DPSPs are contained in Articles 36 to 51. Question 27. DPSPs were largely inspired by the Constitution of option A. Ireland. India borrowed the idea of directive principles from the Irish Constitution. Question 28. Which of the following is a Gandhian directive principle? Option C. Organization of village panchayats. Article 40 directs the state to organize village panchayats. Question 29. Which article directs the state to promote international peace and security? Option D. Article 51. Article 51 promotes international peace, security, and respect for international law. Question 30. Fundamental duties were added to the Constitution by? Option B. 42nd Amendment. 10 fundamental duties were added in 1976 on the recommendation of the Swarn Singh Committee. Question 31. At present, the Constitution provides for how many fundamental duties? Option B. 11. The 11th duty relating to education for children was added by the 86th Amendment. Question 32. Fundamental duties are mentioned in? Option C. Article 51A. Fundamental duties are contained in Article 51A. Question 33. Which of the following is not a fundamental duty? Option C. Vote in every election. Voting is an important civic responsibility but is not listed as a fundamental duty. Question 34. Which amendment added the fundamental duty concerning education of children? Option D. 86th Amendment. The 86th Amendment added Article 51A. Question 35. The President of India is elected by? Option C. Elected MPs and elected MLAs of the states and certain union territories. The Electoral College is specified in Article 54. Question 36. The President's election uses? Option B. Proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. The election is held through proportional representation using the single transferable vote and secret ballot. Question 37. The minimum age for becoming President of India is? Option C. 35 years. Article 58 prescribes 35 years as the minimum age. Question 38. The President can be removed from office through? Option B. Impeachment. The President can be impeached for violation of the Constitution under Article 61. Question 39. The Vice President of India is the ex officio? Option B. Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Article 64 makes the Vice President the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Question 40. The Vice President is elected by? Option B. Members of both houses of Parliament. Both elected and nominated members of Parliament participate in the Vice President's election. Question 41. The Prime Minister is appointed by? Option B. President. The President appoints the Prime Minister, normally the leader of the majority party or coalition in Lok Sabha. Question 42. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to? Option C. Lok Sabha. Article 75(3) establishes collection or collective responsibility to the Lok Sabha. Question 43. The Attorney General of India is. Option B. Highest law officer of India. The Attorney General is the Union Government's chief legal advisor. Question 44. The Parliament of India consists of. Option B. President, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Article 79 defines Parliament as the President and two houses. Question 45. Rajya Sabha is. Option B. A permanent house. Rajya Sabha is not subject to dissolution. One third of its members retire every 2 years. Question 46. The normal term of Lok Sabha is. Option B. 5 years. Article 83 provides a 5-year term subject to constitutional provisions. Question 47. The minimum age for membership of Lok Sabha is. Option B. 25. A person must be at least 25 years old to contest for Lok Sabha. Question 48. The minimum age for membership of Rajya Sabha is. Option C. 30. A Rajya Sabha candidate must be at least 30 years old. Question 49. A money bill can be introduced only in. Option B. Lok Sabha. A money bill can be introduced only in Lok Sabha and only on the President's recommendation. Question 50. Whether a bill is a money bill is finally certified by. Option C. Speaker of Lok Sabha. The Speaker's decision regarding whether a bill is a money bill is constitutionally significant. Question 51. The Rajya Sabha can delay a money bill for a maximum of. Option B. 14 days. If Rajya Sabha does not return the money bill within 14 days, it is deemed passed. Question 52. Joint sitting of Parliament is presided over by. Option C. Speaker of Lok Sabha. The Speaker presides over a joint sitting. In their absence, the Deputy Speaker may preside. Question 53. Joint sitting is not available for. Option B. Money bills. There is no joint sitting for money bills or constitutional amendment bills. Question 54. The quorum to constitute a meeting of either House of Parliament is. Option C. 1/10. 1/10 of the total membership constitutes the quorum. Question 55. The Supreme Court of India was inaugurated on. Option B. 28th January 1950. The Supreme Court commenced functioning on 28 January 1950. Question 56. The Supreme Court is a court of record under. Option B. Article 129. Article 129 declares the Supreme Court a court of record. Question 57. The retirement age of a Supreme Court judge is. Option C. 65. Supreme Court judges retire at 65 years. Question 58. The retirement age of a High Court judge is. Option B. 62. High Court judges retire at 62 years old. Question 59. Judicial review means. Option B. Power of courts to examine constitutionality of laws. Judicial review enables courts to invalidate laws or execute actions inconsistent with the Constitution. Question 60. Article 32 was described by Dr. Ambedkar as option B, heart and soul of the Constitution. Ambedkar regarded the right to constitutional remedies under Article 32 as the Constitution's heart and soul. Question 61. Which court can issue writs for purposes beyond fundamental rights? Option B, High Courts. Under Article 226, High Courts can issue writs for fundamental rights and for any other purpose. Question 62. The doctrine of basic structure was established in option B, Kesavananda Bharati case. The 1973 judgment established the Parliament cannot alter the basic structure of the Constitution. Question 63. Article 368 deals with option B, Constitutional Amendment. Article 368 lays down the principal procedure for constitutional amendments. Question 64. Which amendment is known as the mini constitution? Option B, 42nd Amendment. The 42nd Amendment made extensive changes to the Constitution. Question 65. The 44th Amendment is particularly associated with option B, restoration of civil liberties and changes concerning emergency. It reserved several changes made during the emergency period. Question 66. The anti-defection law was introduced by option C, 52 Amendment. The 52 Amendment Act 1985 added the 10th schedule. Question 67. The voting age was reduced from 21 to 18 years by option B, 61 Amendment. The 61 Constitutional Amendment Act 1988 reduced the voting age 21 to 18. Question 68. GST was introduced through option C, 101 Amendment. The 101 Constitutional Amendment Act 2016 introduced the constitutional framework for GST. Question 69. National emergency is provided under option A, Article 352. Article 352 deals with the national emergency. Question 70. National emergency can be declared on grounds of option A, war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. The 44th Amendment replaced internal disturbance with armed rebellion. Question 71. President's rule in a state is imposed under option C, Article 356. Article 356 deals with the failure of constitutional machinery in a state. Question 72. Financial emergency is provided under option C, Article 360. Article 360 provides for financial emergency. Question 73. Financial emergency in India. Option C, has never been imposed. Article 360 has never been invoked in India. Question 74. India is described in Article 1 as. Option B, Union of States. Article 1 states that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Question 75. The seventh schedule contains. Option B, three legislative lists. It contains the union list, state list, and concurrent list. Question 76. Residuary powers in India belong to. Option B, Union. Unlike some federations, India's residuary legislative powers are vested in Parliament. Question 77. Which list contains subjects on which both Parliament and state legislatures can legislate? Option C, concurrent list. Both levels can legislate on concurrent list subjects subject to constitutional rules concerning repugnancy. Question 78. In case of conflict between a central law and state law on a concurrent list subject, generally. Option B, central law prevails. Under Article 254, union law generally prevails over conflicting state law, subject to the constitutional exception concerning presidential assent. Question 79. Panchayat Raj institutions received constitutional status through. Option C, 73rd Amendment. The 73 Amendment 1992 added Part 9 concerning panchayats. Question 80. Municipalities received constitutional status through. Option C, 74th Amendment. The 74th Amendment added Part 9A concerning municipalities. Question 81. The 11th schedule relates to. Option B, panchayats. The 11th schedule contains 29 subjects relating to panchayats. Question 82. The 12th schedule relates to. Option B, municipalities. It contains 18 subjects relating to municipalities. Question 83. The minimum constitutional reservation for women in panchayats is. Option B, one third. At least one third of seats and offices of chairpersons are constitutionally reserved for women. Question 84. The Election Commission of India is provided under. Option B, Article 324. Article 324 vests the superintendence, direction, and control of elections in the Election Commission. Question 85. The Finance Commission is constituted under. Option A, Article 280. The President constitutes the Finance Commission under Article 280, normally every 5 years. Question 86. The Comptroller and Auditor General of India is provided under. Option A, Article 148. Article 148 establishes the office of the CAG. Question 87. The Union Public Service Commission is provided under. Option B, Article 315. Article 315 provides for public service commissions for the Union and states. Question 88. The National Commission for Scheduled Castes is established under. Option A, Article 338. Article 338 provides for the National Commission for Scheduled Castes. Question 89. The National Commission for Scheduled Tribes is provided under. Option B, Article 338A. The 89th Amendment separated the ST Commission from the combined SC-ST Commission. Question 90. The 8th schedule deals with. Option A, languages. The 8th schedule currently recognizes 22 languages. Question 91. The 10th schedule is associated with. Option B, anti-defection. The 10th schedule contains provisions relating to disqualification on grounds of defection. Question 92. The 5th schedule deals primarily with. Option A, administration of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. The 5th schedule applies to scheduled areas and scheduled tribes in states other than those covered by the 6th schedule. Question 93. The 6th schedule provides special arrangements for tribal areas in. Option B, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. The 6th schedule provides for autonomous district and regional councils in these 4 states. Question 94. Which feature best reflects the federal character of the Constitution? Option B, division of powers between union and states. Federalism requires constitutional distribution of powers between different levels of government. Question 95. Which of the following is a unitary feature of the Indian Constitution? Option C, single citizenship. India provides single citizenship for the entire country, unlike some classic federations. Question 96. The concept of procedure established by law in Article 21 was borrowed from. Option B, Japan. The phrase procedure established by law was inspired by the Japanese constitution. Question 97. The principle of rule of law was borrowed primarily from. Option A, UK. The Indian Constitution drew the principle of rule of law and several parliamentary features from the British constitutional system. Question 98. Which constitutional feature was borrowed from Canada? Option B, federation with a strong center. India's federal structure with a strong union and residuary powers with the center reflects Canadian influence. Question 99. Consider the following statements. Correct answer option A 1 and 2 only. Statements 1 and 2 are correct. Parliament's amending power is subject to the basic structure doctrine. Question 100. Consider the following statements regarding the Indian Constitution. Option D 1, 2, 3, and 4. The Constitution uses different amendment procedures. Some provisions can be changed by simple majority, others by special majority, and certain federal provisions additionally require ratification by at least half of the states.